Are you happy with your life in all aspects? I would guess that there's at least a part that you are unhappy with. But can you change it? I think we can if there's parts of your life you're unhappy with. In some ways, I think we're more free than Roman emperors used to be. But in other ways, we're just as stuck, and it can be very easy to be just as stuck because of your mindset than you are actually stuck. Roman emperors were basically unable to quit. There were only 2 that retired. All the other ones were either forcibly retired or killed. Not a great job, really. Even the most popular writings from that time, I think, is probably the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. And even then, he really couldn't let go of that job. He was stuck in that job, at least to his own mindset. So we at least can leave our jobs. You can move. You can move across the world if you want. Change all you want about your life. You might not be able to immediately, or might not be the best choice to do so immediately, but you at least have the potential to, right? You have the potential to change things in your life. And you might not want to, and even if you want to, you might not get around to doing it. Right? The inertia of continuing to live as you have been is pretty strong. It's easier to do it, right? It's harder to make a change. But if you want to make a change, if you want to leave your job, if you want to move somewhere else, well, you should prepare to do so, especially with your job. And I think even if you're happy in your current job, you should be prepared to move on. Because you never know, your boss might change. You might have a great boss now, and you get a new one next month, and they're terrible. Or what's more likely in the current economic times, at least in corporate US, is you just lose your job tomorrow. I don't say that as I don't say that to spread doom and gloom or to spread fear or anything, but that is a possibility in corporate America, is that you can just lose your job tomorrow. So in my view, you should be prepared to lose it, right? And I think we're going to see a lot of downsizing in the coming future with the current economic situation. So it's smart to start building some savings, in my opinion. Reduce debt, minimize expenses, start building some extra cash just in case. Right? Whether you want to call it an emergency fund, a war chest, or the escape plan, whatever you want, start building some savings. Of course, keep it in like a high yield savings account, but start collecting some. Pay off debt, because that reduces your risk, right? If you lose your job tomorrow and you don't have any debt, you could probably go a lot longer, even if you have very minimal savings, than if you have $1,000 of debt payments a month or more, right? But I think it's best to be prepared, even if it's only a few months worth of savings, right? But just enough where you wouldn't have to find a new job immediately, in case that's not a possibility, and that you wouldn't have to continue working for somebody you hate. I think it's good to have the savings in that regard. I think it gives you more freedom to have that. But it depends on what you want. And really, I think you want to find something that you're happy to do. I don't view retirement as I cease to do anything, but just that I don't do things I don't want to do anymore. But there's still stuff you want to work on, right? People who retire and then stop doing anything die pretty quickly. At least that's been what I've heard from people. So I think it's good to have something you enjoy doing, whether that makes a ton of money or not. Or like if you enjoy writing, write. If you enjoy boating, then go boat, right? There's stuff to do, right? Find stuff to do so that way you don't just keel over when you retire. But I also don't want to retire at 60, personally. I want to be able to go take vacations when I'm younger and can enjoy them more. I want to go do stuff while I'm younger. So, I don't want to be stuck working in a corporate job or any job really for another 40 years. And I think that's a fair thing to say. I don't think the corporate work environment is super great. Like, it's not terrible at some places, but it's also not great. So you don't want to be stuck there if you don't have to be. Now, if you enjoy that environment and you love it, I don't quite understand that, but hey, more power to you. But for me, I don't want to be stuck there. It's I have to go to work that bothers me. I don't mind going to work. but the fact I have to pay my bills kind of puts a detriment on it. And I think that's true for a lot of people. I knew a lot of people growing up who, if they chose to do something, they would do it. They would get really good at it. But the moment school would make them, hey, you have to read this particular book, they would drag their feet, kicking and screaming. It just wouldn't do it. And I think that's kind of pretty human in a lot of regards. And I think that also has something to do with education, but that's a bit off topic for today. But I think you need to find stuff that you're happy doing, that you want to get up and do. Where, you know, when you wake up in the morning, there's not, oh, I have to go to work, but it's heck yeah. Where it's not, but rather, yes, I get to go and do whatever it is, right? I think it's also important, if you're looking at retiring, that you consider what you're going to do in retirement. Right? I think you should stay busy, because I think you'll enjoy life more if you have stuff that you feel you're doing that is productive. But, you know, people have hobbies, and sometimes people put those off. If you've never golfed before, you can't really expect to go into retirement and just start golfing every day. Maybe you'll hate it. Right? And rather than spending a ton of money on golf clubs, go to a driving range early. Go to a Top Golf even, and just try hitting the ball and seeing if you even enjoy that. You know, go out with friends and do something that you're thinking, oh, I'd like to do that. Right? If you want a boat, make friends with somebody who has a boat before you go buy one yourself, and go boating with them and learn, you know, what they do and the upkeep and all that stuff before you sink a ton of money into it. And that goes for like any hobby. Go dip your toes in the water before you buy a ton of stuff. Anyway, try to find stuff that you do that you enjoy, and wish you the best. That's all I have for this week. I'll catch you next week with another video.